Do you ever get the feeling that our world is actually the setting of some elaborate novel rich with metaphor? Maybe it's just me, but there are certain aspects of science and math and history that are just filled with these ambiguous metaphors that you can't quite figure out, but they feel like they're hinting something at you. Some of them are pretty obvious. For example, the light that we see when we look at the stars is coming to us from billions of light years away. Essentially, we're looking into the past. Some of the most fertile soil comes from when forests burn down and the ashes of what once was line the forest floor. Some are a little bit weird. For example, humans are composed almost entirely of bacterial cells, and yet we think that we're so much more complex than our unicellular peers. After you've had chickenpox as a child and recovered, the virus remains dormant in your nervous system and can reemerge at any time, especially when you're under a lot of stress, as the shingles virus, which is basically this more intense form of the chickenpox. A lot of them are pretty morbid. For example, your hair and nails can continue growing once you're dead. Rasputin was this Russian guy, and people tried to kill him a few times. Once he was stabbed, but somehow recovered even though his insides hung out of his stomach. Another time he was poisoned and survived, and then he finally died of hypothermia, the victim of nature. There's this abandoned amusement park in China. Let's be honest, amusement parks are the embodiment of indulgence, and they never finished building this amusement park, so now farmers plant their seeds in between these elaborate and unfinished castles. In math, there are asymptotes. No matter how close you get to them, you'll never quite touch them. You can also multiply a gazillion by a gazillion by a gazillion by a quadrillion by a jillion, and if you multiply it by 0, you'll still get 0. Although we exist in a 3D world and we know that, we actually perceive things as 2D, and we can only sort of get an idea of our surroundings by these monocular and binocular cues, hints, based on shadows and distance and relative size. Don't even get me started on the honeybee. Maybe just some food for thought. Maybe I'm just crazy. In any event, Kelsey, I'll see you tomorrow. Or today.